Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and I want to talk about activism. I've recently learned that some people don't know what activism is, and that's fair. I'm not trying to be rude to them, but activism is not complicated, and it's a pretty important idea to understand. It is when a person is engaged or involved in something outside of a normal line of employment, or perhaps within the line of employment in the activism community, which is motivated by principles, beliefs, political ideology, or something along these lines, where they may be protesting, they may be petitioning or canvassing. They are active, doing something for a purpose other than financial gain, other than to create a product or service. That's what activism is. So why I mention this is because some people are activists without even realizing it. Some people are very motivated and concerned about issues, hot button issues, or things that are important to them, and they participate in online discussions, they participate in policy making or protests or whatever, and they don't understand necessarily that there is actually a role. There's a role that they are participating in called activism. It's a whole big thing, and it's been a big thing for a long time. I think it's very important that people understand that activism is different, first of all, than ordinary activity or employment, where you are actually creating a potential disturbance by being an activist. This is another characteristic of it. You're doing something that is potentially controversial, because as an activist, there are multiple sides to the ideology that you're getting behind. Ideologies tend to have facets or opposition, that is, something that is debatable, something that is controversial, and there may be people who don't agree with you as an activist. So there's an inherent risk sometimes to being one, which is one of the reasons why it's important to know when you're being an activist or how to identify somebody else who is an activist. It can be very risky, especially if they're what we call an extremist, right? So an extremist has an overlap with activists, where extremists may also be activists who are acting in an extreme way, such as attacking somebody or blocking a road, for example. These are examples of extremism. Or in the case of animal rights activism, where extremists go and trespass onto facilities or properties to destroy machinery or whatever. They block the process. Sometimes you've heard about this stuff. Or to protect trees from getting cut down. Those are kind of extreme activists, when they chain themselves to the trees or climb up in the trees and refuse to leave, that kind of stuff. There isn't always a clear line between extremism and non-extremism, but it's pretty clear when it's definitely extremism. And I mention this again because while I don't like labeling people or really anything out of hand, because it opens the possibility for abuse of symbols, it opens the possibility for misinterpretation or redirection of meaning, it is important to understand ideas as themselves, as concepts. Concepts are real. Concepts help us communicate, they help us understand and think about things, and to connect ideas, and also to see the ways in which things are different. It's very important to be able to differentiate between behaviors. So labels can help with that. Labels can sometimes be very helpful, such as the difference between an activist and just an ordinary person who's walking around minding their business. Just because someone's not collecting a paycheck for what they're doing doesn't mean that they're not working. Doesn't mean that they're not an employee of something. They might just be a volunteer activist, and these are more common than you think. So in conclusion, just because somebody isn't reporting to somebody, just because somebody isn't reporting to a boss or on a schedule or payroll, doesn't mean that they're not working as an activist. Look around, you'll see them. Reach out if you like with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.